The Home Pros Radio Show.
I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and this is the Home Pros Radio Show podcast. If there is one thing that I could say that all homeowners are good at, it would be collecting stuff. I see it in attics, basements, and garages all the time while performing home inspections. Well, what do we do when it's time to get rid of all of the stuff? It's not easy to get it done, but we found one company that can do it for you. It's 1-800-GOT-JUNK, who joined us on the show with some helpful advice on what to do when it's time to declutter our homes.
We've got David Pennybaker with us here to talk junk. We actually did a segment on the show about New Year's resolutions, homeowners' New Year's resolutions, things we need to do to maybe declutter our houses. I was researching, I believe it was the 1-800-GOT-JUNK website where they were like, life is more enjoyable without clutter. And I was like, oh, yeah.
It is. It definitely is.
And you're the company to help folks take care of it, aren't you?
Absolutely. That's our main business, helping people get rid of things that they don't need, want, or just have room for anymore.
Now, we're entering the spring. The weather was beautiful yesterday. People get spring fever. They want to start. Does this become the time of year for you?
Yeah, we stay busy year-round, believe it or not. But it definitely amps up probably late February, early March. And then tails just a little bit before Christmas. People start getting other things on their mind. Once they got their houses cleaned for guests that are coming, they've got other things to do with their money than declutter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely starts to amp up right about now.
For the homeowner who does want to declutter their home, do you have any advice?
You know how you guys were talking just a minute or so ago about, your podcast and how you take this big, overwhelming show and break it down into manageable, meaningful chunks.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that is probably the best way to go about any of it is, you look at your whole house, it's a little bit overwhelming. The garage can be cluttered, bedrooms could be cluttered, closets could be cluttered, whatever the case may be. And just set yourself a goal that, like, today we're going to just tackle, this element of it, whether it's, your son's bedroom or this half of the garage, and then just get started.
Mm-hmm.
I found that redundancy is, when you're actually trying to declutter, it's, you start putting things in piles, you're pulling things off shelves, you're getting it kind of spread out and you're looking at it. In the garage, I've probably got, 40, 50 different boxes of 2-inch drywall screws. And that's because every time I need a drywall screw, I go to the store and I buy a box of drywall screws, right?
You can never have too many of those.
Right.
Well, no doubt. But, it's one of those things like all of a sudden you start digging and you're going, holy smokes, look at all this.
And then you realize
I get all this.
Then you realize how screwed you really are.
Boy, you
yeah, exactly right. Whether it's on the inch of the But that's kind of it, is then kind of saying to yourself, okay, the reality is I'd like to keep one box around and the rest of these can go away, so let me put these in a pile. Mm-hmm. And then breaking your piles into, is it a donation pile? Like Habitat for Humanity would probably love to have 49 out of my 50 boxes of drywall screws. They can resell them, and do some good with it, right? And that's fine with me because I want it out of my space. So, making a donation pile, making here's a bunch of cut off pieces of PVC pile. Here's my scrap lumber pile that I was going to keep because, this 3-foot 2x4 is worth something. No, it's not. Put all that stuff in a pile that's going to actually go to the dump. And then maybe a pile of things that you really do need, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That you're going to put back into the space. And then, you can always come back later that afternoon and, relook at your piles before you make that final decision. But, I think that's really kind of the good start is just, making a manageable section that you can deal with and feel like you get something accomplished, and then sort it and then dispose of it appropriately.
Now, I would think of that another thing, too, is maybe to train yourself to think it's okay to throw something away.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it. An example, this is just recent. I got an 18-year-old son, and I bring his bedroom up because we spent an entire day in his room and didn't get done. It was so just ridiculously overwhelming. It's like he's got a closet, he's got dressers, but none of his clothes are in there, and I'm just looking at it going, dude, we got to get through this. Mm-hmm. And so as we start sorting all the mess in his floor, I figured out why he doesn't do laundry but once a month. It's because he got 36 pair of underwear. Every year for Christmas, whatever, somebody's giving the kid underwear. And it's like he doesn't need to, right? You got socks and underwear, you just keep going and going and going. And then it's a huge mess at the end to deal with. And it's like, you know what? We can get rid of some of this. This is not sentimental, okay? You need 6 pair of underwear, maybe 7.
Yeah, I'd make it on one.
The rest of it all got to go away, okay? So pick your favorites and let's be done. And I think that same scenario kind of applies to all this. Like it doesn't really have value. It is okay to throw it away or to give it away, you know? I don't know that.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
You want to donate old underwear, but, you know.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised too if maybe this tendency, like I'll do home inspections, and if the seller's there, I almost always hear this is, well, I got to clean out my attic. I didn't even realize I've been keeping so much stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it is the media does such a good job of teaching us to recycle, reuse, you know, be conservative with your items, don't be wasteful. And I guess maybe part of that mentality comes from that. And one of the things that could help is to know when to recycle. And when we can reuse things, and then also knowing when to get rid of stuff. So in most cases, when in doubt, the containers will tell us. Is that not correct? You know, sometimes
some haven't been opened in about 5 to 6 years. It's probably about
time to get rid of it. So and well, that's the other thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think you know foods and beverages, and you know the multitude of plastics. You know that gets really in depth as terms of recycling. But you know most of the recycling companies will take care of that sort of stuff. You know the curbside recycling. Mm-hmm. If you're talking about, you know, bigger things, you know, papers, you know, some people keep magazines, some people keep, you know, newspapers. It's amazing how much that stuff stacks up. But all of that can be recycled. Cardboard for sure.
Well, then when it comes to like, let's say like electronic devices and tools and other things like that around the house, another thing to keep in mind is that broken does not necessarily mean useless. Everything has its value.
You know, electronics are a little bit problematic for disposal purposes because TVs are an unbelievable issue. TVs now are 2 inches wide. They don't weigh, you know, anything. But everybody still has huge old box TVs, right? Mm-hmm. Spectacular pictures. They still work great. But
you can't throw it away, right?
No TV. Yeah, nobody wants them anymore.
Right.
You cannot give those to Goodwill or any other charity organization for that matter, for their resale shops because nobody wants to go buy one. You can't give them away. Big, beautiful, you know, 42-inch Sony TV with a spectacular picture. But if it weighs 300 pounds and takes up, you know, 18 cubic feet, there's no use for it, right? So they have to go away. But they have to be recycled properly. There's big issues with chains of custody with electronics. You know, pictures of people burning electronics on the beaches in China, you know, big containers of stuff just being improperly disposed of, you know, mercury and just, anyway, nasty stuff. Yeah. But in order to do it properly, they need to go to the right disposal facilities, which isn't a big deal. I mean, if you can lug the thing down, put it in your trunk and drive it, you know, mostly to your local landfills, they actually have recycling drop-off facilities. And, you know, depending on the facility, they'll charge anywhere from $15-$20 per item, or, you know, in our case, they do it by weight. Well, you know, because we take a little more volume of it.
And of course, one of the things that's an advantage with enlisting the help of you and folks like 1-800-GOT-JUNK is that you can take care of you can make those decisions on where stuff goes and all that for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we do. We bring things out of the house, we put them into our own specific piles, we load them into the trucks, and then off they go. We, believe it or not, can't illegally dispose of stuff. That just doesn't work. We can't drop TVs in the landfill because it's not allowed. We have to take them to the right facility. We make sure that they do. You know, same thing with pesticides, fertilizers, old bag of fertilizers. They don't want in the landfill. They have to be dealt with separately, so they have to be dropped off at a different facility. There's a fair amount of sorting that does go on in terms of, you know, what is recyclable, steel, you know, what you can actually get salvage money back for. You can get paid for steel. You got a bunch of old lawnmowers, take them down to the metal yard, and they'll give you a couple of bucks for them. Power tools, all those things y'all were talking about. They do have, even though they don't work, they do have some value in them, you know, and then go recycle it best you can. You know, everything that we do gets sorted and disposed just exactly for those reasons. It's for us, it's economic as well as the right thing to do.
All right. So for folks who are interested in learning about 1-800-GOT-JUNK, you can visit them online at 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com. Do I have to give out the number?
You might want to.
1-800-GOT-JUNK. It's 1-800-468-5865. We're talking about junk, and we're talking about this week's RIC Home Inspections photo from the field.
The RIC Home Inspections photo from the field.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
Did you see that?
That's right. If you've seen it on Facebook, there's a beautiful photo there that we've shared of a Junky Garage. And if you have a hard time getting that garage cleaned out or want to clear it out and need some help, the folks to talk to are 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And David Pennybaker. David, let me ask you this. We were talking about things that were hard to get rid of. One of the items that it was interesting that you mentioned was paint.
Paint has got to be the one of the most problematic things that we deal with. In this liquid form, we can't take it. Most of our disposal facilities will take paint from individuals, so, county residents or so forth, for a couple, $2-3 a gallon. But from us as a commercial hauler, they won't take it. So we have to ask homeowners to maybe fill the cans with kitty litter to dry the paint before we get there, and then we can take it.
Kitty litter.
Yeah.
Another nice.
We have lots of uses for kitty litter on this show.
Scouts Pest Control is telling us about keeping the mice away from your crawl space with used kitty litter. You don't have to use it, do you, for the paint?
Not for this one.
No, you don't. It doesn't have to be used. It can be, it can be any variety works well. Actually, we've used oil dry because you can buy. Kitty litter is expensive because it's for cats, right?
Yeah.
But oil dry, you can buy, big old bags of that stuff relatively cheaply. Sam's Club, Costco, stuff like that. And it works just as effectively. It's really just something to dry the paint before it gets tossed out and smushed up in the landfill. But
I was going to say the great thing about what you guys do is 1-800-GOT-JUNK takes care of all those concerns for you. I mean, that's one of the things that I would think that most homeowners struggle with is I'd love to get rid of it, but I have no idea what to do with it.
Well, that's the thing. We try to let everybody know ahead of time. I mean, our sales agents at the call center will let people know, you have paint. We can't haul wet paint. If you want to dry it with some kitty litter, before we get there, we can deal with it in that fashion. And then when we get there, sometimes we'll have, cases of fluorescent light bulbs. Those are another one that are problematic. This is interesting to me. It always has been. If fluorescent light bulbs are a hole in the tube, you cannot dispose of them in the landfill. However, if they're broken, they can go in the landfill.
If you throw them, they will break.
It's one of those things. Like,
oops, what? You won't take these? Oops, I dropped it.
Exactly. So, we deal with, if we've got, commercial facilities, because we do quite a bit of that, we'll have, cases of these things. And, they definitely don't go to the landfill. They get disposed of differently. So it's just, it's the multitudes of things that you just don't even really think about sometimes. It can't. Batteries, lithium-ion batteries and all sorts of devices these days. Car batteries. What do you do with an old dead car battery? If you're lucky enough to exchange it when you get your new battery and drop it off, it gets taken care of. But, you've got a couple sitting in the garage, where do they go?
So
propane tanks.
Yeah. Propane tanks is another one. Yeah, I can imagine.
Most of the landfills, they tend to be kind of spread out and nowhere near, where most of us live.
Tell us what the process is about with 1-800-GOT-JUNK. If someone wants to enlist your services, they call in, call the number, and where do you go from there?
They'll set an appointment, and we usually give a 2-hour window, say from 8 to 10. So that, you're not waiting all day for us. And then our truck guys will call you about 15 minutes ahead just to kind of give you an update as to our progress. We show up at your house and you walk us around, show us everything that you want to get rid of, and we give you an estimate as to what that's going to cost. We charge based on volume, so it's really not very arbitrary. It's pretty cut and dry. So if you've got a little bit of junk, we charge a little bit of money. If you've got, a truckload of junk, we charge more money. So anyway, we'll give you a price, and if you like it, then we load it from wherever it is. We don't expect any prep work to really be done. If you got an attic that needs to be cleaned out, our guys go up into the attic, bring the stuff down out to the trucks. If it's in a garage, in a shed, wherever it is, you just point at it and we make it disappear. That's what our service is all about, is making life easy for the customer to get rid of their junk and to declutter.
Have you any interesting stories about things you've found? On the spot.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many multitudes of things, and what I've always found interesting, because I always thought initially it's like, oh yeah, weird junk, we're gonna find all this crazy weird stuff. It's really not the junk at all that's weird and crazy. It's some of our customers.
Yeah.
We've I'm not kidding. We went in one house. It was we had done multiple jobs for this guy, little bits of stuff here and there. And they called us back, says, we got some stuff in the basement today, so park your trucks down around on that street and we'll go in the basement. So he comes over, he opens up the basement and we walk in, and he goes, it's on the other side. So as we walk through, the entire basement is staged with mannequins like a party is going on.
Oh, man.
Okay, they are dressed, I mean, in tuxedos and flapper outfits, and
So it's a nice
just
party.
everywhere. Just, a really nice party happening down here. And we're looking at this, and it's just like, he goes, nothing here. It's on the other side. He just walks through like absolutely nothing. So we all just kept our mouths shut, just quietly followed along to the other side of the basement. And then over there was a room that had some old shingles and miscellaneous stuff in it. And we took it out and never said another word. Just kind of kept going. But,
walk out fast.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, everybody stay together.
We got
Everybody keep your backs to each other. Work our way out of here.
Exactly. Wow.
So it's a fun business. There's no doubt about it.
Have you ever had any experiences where you're cleaning out a house and you're like, I think I'm going to hang on to this?
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, the stuff's going to get recycled, repurposed. One of my guys, it's like a really nice recliner or something, or a couch. Like, hey, Dave, can we have this? I'm like, yeah, you can take it. Because I don't give it to my guys; they can use it, or give it to Goodwill.
Right.
Whatever the case may be.
Employee benefit there.
Well, absolutely. But I kind of have a rule with the guys. It's like, if you take it, it needs to get into your car.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't leave it laying
Don't leave it
out.
sitting at my shop in the yard, right? Come back next week and get it, and then I've got a hoarder situation.
Then speaking of which, I understand you guys have been on TV a couple of times as well.
Yeah, my crews from Asheville and Greenville, we service Western North Carolina and Greenville, upstate South Carolina. But anyway, my local crews have done, 3 of the A&E Hoarder episodes. One on the east side of Greenville, one in Greenwood, South Carolina, and then one up Johnson City, Tennessee.
On the east side of Greenville?
Yeah.
It wasn't at my house, was it? Actually, I have a confession to make. The photo from the field, that's my garage.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I could rival that photo with my garage.
Oh, okay, good.
I think a lot of garages can. I very rarely, whenever I'm out at houses, I very rarely see cars in the garages. It's always stuff.
Stuff, yeah. I mean, who parks in...
Yeah, that's exactly what my wife says, is why is it that we've got all these dump trucks and guys that work for us that remove stuff, and my car is always outside?
That's kind of like my house in chains. It's like, why do we have home improvement and home inspection businesses, and we got so much to fix in our own homes?
It's always that thing, too.
If you want to enlist the services of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, that's the number, 1-800-468-5865. You can also find them online at 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com. They will be ready to help you with the process of decluttering your home. That's going to do it for this episode of the Home Pros Radio Show podcast. Please feel free to share with those who will enjoy our program. Also, a quick reminder to subscribe so you can keep up with every new episode as it's released. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections. We'll look forward to being with you next time on the Home Pros Radio Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. If you have a question for the Home Pros, visit us online at homeprosradio.com, where you can contact us directly and also learn more about the topics and guests we bring to you each week. It's the Home Pros Radio Show online at homeprosradio.com or on the radio at 94.5 WGTK, The Answer.